Hello, everybody. Welcome back to
Hello.
Intoxicated Intellect. I'm Justin. Today, we're getting into the tier list, part 2, for the Paladin subclasses. I got Brady. I got Ben here with me. We're gonna be trying to move a little bit quicker because, we like to talk, but we don't like to talk for that long.
Yeah.
Also, go
We're
watch
all
part 1.
introverts.
It's in the top right corner of the video. Go watch it. Go watch part 1. Catch up. You're gonna want to see that.
Let us know if you like that version better or this version better, because that just means we make longer, but we separate out our stuff a little better.
Right. Also, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. We're gonna get some things wrong. We're sure of it.
Tell me why I'm wrong, internet.
Give us the feedback. That's how we make better content for you guys if you like it. So now we're on to the Oath of Glory Paladin.
This one is
Tell me about the glory.
All right, I'll start off with the spells.
Go for it.
You're getting Guiding Bolt and Heroism at level 3.
Yep.
Both of those are pretty damn good. Level 5, you're getting Enhance Ability and Magic Weapon. Level 9, you're getting Haste and Protection from Energy.
Yep.
13, you're getting Compulsion and Freedom of Movement. I do feel it falls off a little bit at level 17 though, with Commune and Flame Strike as your top ones.
Yep. Much like
That's the same. The same as the last one in the last video. Yeah,
it's the
Devotion.
Same as Devotion. So it does fall off there a little bit, but just based on spells, you cap it out at 13 just based on spells, and that's not bad because again, most sessions are gonna be played in that range.
Dude, Haste is great.
Haste
is huge for this class.
Oh yeah. As for your channel Divinities, so a lot of what the Oath of Glory does, this is your athlete. He's your this is your Olympian turned warrior. One of your channel Divinities, peerless athlete. Words are hard, everybody. You can augment your athleticism for 10 minutes. You have advantage on strength and dex, athletics and acrobatics checks, and you can carry, drag, push double your normal limit.
You gotta lift that car off of somebody?
Yep.
Do it.
As well as jump an additional 10 feet, both horizontally and vertically.
It's sheer Jedi force leap, force jump,
Yep.
force speed, heroism.
Yep. And then you also gain access to Inspiring Smite. So Inspiring Smite's an interesting one, because it's when you do use your Divine Smite feature.
There you
Works
go.
so really hard. I don't know why I'm struggling so much.
Intoxicated intellect for a reason.
I had one
We're on
here.
brand,
This is not,
folks.
yeah.
We're on brand.
But as a bonus action, you can distribute temporary hit points to creatures within 30 feet of you. Total number of hit points equals 2d8 plus your levels in the Paladin class. Divided amongst the creatures however you so choose. So it's another built-in healing ability. Yep.
Temporary hit points always golden to go with because
they go first.
If you got a rule master as a DM, the temporary hit points are very flexible and aren't mentioned often. There's a lot of blank space in there to interpret it. However,
and especially at lower levels, those temporary hit points can take 2 damage if you roll high enough on that 2d8, because it is a flat 2d8. Which if you roll 8, that's 16 hit points you can distribute and really fuck shit up.
Yeah, just throw a few more out. Throw all of them on one person if you know they're about to take the hit. It's pretty nice. I like the versatility of that, and you can distribute it just however you want. So here's something that I think Jake could use, and partly because Agdar is a dwarf. Aura of Alacrity. It's
very useful. You have to be close though. That's the drawback to Aura of Alacrity. You have to be within 5. You have to start your turn within 5 feet of that character.
Yeah, and even at the higher levels at 18, it only increases to a range of 10 feet. That's still you're gonna have to be basically next to it.
Yeah, that's the lowest one we've seen.
But the idea of it is you're moving in formation. So you have a shield wall with some people behind throwing stuff.
Well, hell,
that's pretty useful.
Even if Agdar had the Aura of Alacrity, he'd be going
alone,
10 feet faster, which means he could actually keep up with us.
If you play a squat character, this is useful in and of yourself. Plus, you potentially give other people, if Burry were to end his turn within 5 to 10 feet of Agdar with this, Burry could move.
And then
he could get
you gotta
things
be
done.
like, you have to be moving in a group though. Like it has to be really coordinated, I think, for this.
I will say the glorious defense at 15th level though.
Useful.
It is, but I feel as a 15th level ability, it kind of lacks. Basically, okay, let's say at this point somehow you've managed to max out your charisma mod to +5.
Right.
You now have the shield spell pretty much.
Right.
But as a pally, there's no saying your charisma mod's gonna be a +5 at 15th level. That bonus and it targets AC could just be a +2 or a +3, which I don't know, that kind of feels off target for me.
Well, I mean, since you have the ability to choose, though, you can make it. If you know, let's say I know my teammate's AC is 21, and I know this hit is a 23.
Yeah.
I can use my reaction for this, or I can save my reaction to do other things if I can't do anything about it. I don't have to, per se, use that. But the ability to just to be like, nope, you don't hit, is very strong.
You don't hit and I hit you is how I'm rating it on your reaction. Like if they don't hit them, you make a weapon attack against the attacker as part of the reaction.
Which is where that is stronger.
And while this is nice, is you get to use it once you know that hit was originally going to hit.
Yeah, so you could use it after the roll is determined.
That's huge, because every other rule that you see something like that come into play with is specified that before you know the outcome of the roll.
Yeah, you can see the roll, but it's
like, oh, that hits. Wait a minute.
Wrong DM.
Yeah, I can know all the information and then throw that out there, which is super useful. And then at level 20, your Capstone, Living Legend. 1 minute, you are blessed with an otherworldly presence, gaining advantage on all charisma checks. Useful. At the end of each of your turns, you make a weapon attack and miss. You can just say, "Nah, I hit. I didn't want to miss that. I hit him this time."
It's the reward.
And if you fail a saving throw, it's like having Indomitable all the time. You can re-roll it. You have to use the new roll. But if I roll a nat 1 or I roll something I know is going to fail, I can try again.
And then what's nice about this one as well is with the other ones that have only lasted a minute, that was it. It just lasted a minute and you got that once per long rest. But this one says if you use a spell slot of 5th level, you can use it again before that long rest takes place. So you do have more options to use it.
I like it.
At level 20, you're going to have at least, I forget how many spell slots Pallies get, but at 5th level,
I can look that up fast.
Because that's at least going to be one extra use of it, if not 2.
All right, boys, let's get down to it.
I want to see how
many
spell slots.
Brady.
5th level, 2. You get 2 5th level
So that's
spell
potentially
slots.
3 uses of this per long rest. That is really
That's
strong.
huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. Especially because you can just change the outcome of a roll.
Yep.
The wording in that is amazing. It's amazing. I like that. Where are we putting it, boys?
All right.
Brady, what do you think?
Well, once you guys pointed out the glorious defense flaws that the flaws that I thought were there, but then ended up were actual strengths. That plus, all the athletics and acrobatics, the inspiring others, that haste that you get at 9th level, the enhance ability, the magic weapon. Yeah, our things are multi-class and what multi-class. I don't know.
Maybe not. I would be confident saying I probably wouldn't multi-class into this.
Maybe only if you're a bard for the Peerless Athlete. But even then,
a lot of bards can get advantage on acrobatics anyway.
Well, I was thinking barbarian.
Oh, barb.
Yeah. But I mean, in combat, it's going to be pretty good. That extra 10 feet of movement speed is nice and everything. Outside of combat, again, charisma is going to be a high stat. I'm giving this overall a B- to a C+.
Okay. What about you, Justin?
I really like what it can do.
Okay.
It reminds me of a Guardian class Jedi. In many ways, it's a very martial character. It's a very acrobatic character. And then it can just turn the tide for a single roll.
Yeah.
Is unbelievable. You can just make, you can change AC. I think a lot of the specific class bonuses are great. And having haste in there too, and magic weapon, like, it falls off, admittedly, toward the end with the spells, but then you get... No, that attack hits.
Yeah.
No, it missed. No, I'm a living legend.
It hits.
That shit fucking hit.
Being able to do that once per turn?
It's Obi-Wan Kenobi, and therefore I'm going to give it an OB.
I would honestly, you hit all the points that I wanted to hit. I'd also give it a B.
All right. So
I don't think it's quite A, but it's definitely better than C.
Oath of Glory is going B.
All right.
And that leads us next into the Oath of Redemption,
which is an interesting one. This one's a little different. But
tenants are
peace. It's a pacifist class. It is a pacifist class. There is one thing I want to say going into this. You've got tenets of your paladin classes. First one, violence is a weapon of last resort. Diplomacy and understanding are the paths to long-lasting peace. If you're looking to be a pally to go smash some shit,
this is not your choice.
This isn't the one. This is the belief that everyone can be redeemed, that everyone can be brought back, that we can do everything through a vein of pacifism. Unfortunately, combat's a big part of D&D.
Unless you're creative. Unless you're creative.
Disagree on where this one stacks
we
up.
were able to talk about it a little bit before Justin hopped into the chat. Yeah, we already disagree on this a little bit, but let's run through it and then we'll get to
I am
our
intrigued.
A little bit later.
Yeah, let's break it down.
So, O spells. Sanctuary and Sleep right off the bat at level 3. Sanctuary is super useful if you're creative with it. Calm Emotions and Hold Person after that.
I like Sleep at 3rd level
and
too.
Hypnotic, Counterspell and Hypnotic Pattern. Very powerful abilities at level 9. Once again, I think this peaks at 9, but we'll go into the rest of it as we go.
Calm Emotions is great for out of combat too.
Yep. Auto Luke. I don't know how to say this. Auto Luke. Resilient Sphere. Useful. Stone Skin. Love that. Basically become a barbarian. Hit me. Go for it. I don't care. Hold Monster and Wall of Force is your capstone spells at level 17. Wall of Force, as we discovered in one of our one-shots, very powerful if you're creative with how you use it.
Very shapeable.
Yes.
You can make all sorts of shapes with Wall of Force.
But right off the bat, one of the biggest differences from every other class we've seen, you mentioned the Pacifist class. A lot of these, while yes, they're useful in combat, aren't damaging.
No.
They are conceivably useful out of combat as well.
This is the pure crowd control and maybe
one
social
of
or
those
utility.
Is a damaging spell. I don't think it was
I do not believe so.
No,
I don't believe a single one of them is.
Not a one.
But for your channel divinities,
you
want to run through those, Brady?
Emissary of Peace, which is you use your channel divinity to augment your presence with divine power. Bonus action, you grant yourself a +5 to persuasion checks for 10 minutes. That's a long time.
Solid. That duration is great. You got to get through a really good you got to get through an important conversation and get all the information you need to know.
You want a channel divinity to be useful outside of combat?
There it is. Yeah.
And then going into combat, Rebuke the Violent. Immediately after an attacker within 30 feet of you deals damage with an attack against a creature other than you, use your reaction to force the attacker to make a wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, that attacker takes radiant damage to the equal radiant damage to the damage it just dealt. On a successful save, it still does half as much.
So
that's huge for the BBEG. Like, if you haven't engaged him, you're just holding back. And, like, he smashes your tank, and the tank's like, oh, man, I'm going down. It's like, nah, God's on our side, bro.
And while, yes, it does take your wisdom mod, in the scenario Justin just gave out with the BBEG, at that point, you're going to be a higher level. You've had time to put some ASIs into charisma.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That is...
That's powerful.
Even dealing half damage on a successful save, that means as long... Like, it doesn't matter. The moment you choose to use Rebuke the Violent, they're taking damage.
Yep. And then next
I like it at low levels, too. It can be great to take out, like, a nice little group of things.
Yeah. Next up, we have Aura of the Guardian, your Aura spell at level 7. Interesting. Something we've seen before with one of the other auras that you got. You can substitute yourself as who takes the damage. You can take the damage for somebody else. As long as they're within 10 feet of you, I believe.
This one does state that it doesn't
works in a
transfer any
different
other
way.
Effects. So
yeah,
this one is solely
just
the
purely damage. Yep. And then you follow that up with Protective Spirit. Mends your wounds during combat. Regain hit points 1d6 plus half Paladin level.
Again, we see a 15th level
Yep.
enhancement.
And
it's
this is
very
as long
underpowered.
as you are under half of your...
Yeah.
And this is every single turn while you're under half of your max.
I'm going to be real, folks. This sucks. Right here, Protective Spirit sucks.
It's not a lot on return. And you have to be below
1d6,
half of your normal.
1d6 and half, and then you have to be below half? That sucks. And we've seen a lot of bad 15th level stuff.
To that. Yeah, and you have at best plus 10 to that.
Yeah.
So it's a low health return. It is health return. It is still health return, which is useful.
It is health return.
I will not take it away from that. It is not a lot of it though. And for a level 15 where you're talking 7,
I'm going to tell you where that comes into huge play. And
okay.
That is paired with the Otoluk's Resilient Sphere. Because that spell, basically, it encompasses one larger, smaller creature. Nothing gets in, nothing gets out. You drop down to 7 hit points, and you know your tank and your other off tank, or your spellcaster and your tank can hold them off for five rounds without dying, or even 3 rounds. You sit in that sphere for a couple bits, you regain those hit points, you come out a swinging. Or say your wizard now needs to regain some HP. Like it, that spell does add in a lot of the Protective Spirit sucks as a 15th level bonus, but it does pair well with the spells you're
with
given
other abilities that you get around the time. Yeah, and that's fair. And then at your capstone, Emissary of Redemption, resistance to all damage dealt by other creatures, their attacks, spells, and other effects, so including breath weapons. And then whenever a creature damages you, it takes radiant damage equal to half the amount it dealt. You've activated my trap card.
Your god is looking out for you. It's like you just stand back and you really this is
try to talk him down. I will smite him for you.
Also,
this is turning the other cheek and letting God's karma come down on somebody.
This has no time limit and is just a permanent effect you get at level 20.
Yep.
That's just what you are because you've lived your life not harming anything else. So like something
so your god does it for you.
Tries to harm you. Yeah. It's God, please kill this dude.
Certainly, my disciple.
Okay, all right, let's go.
I will not lay a hand on him if you kill this dude.
Justin, where are you placing this?
Yeah, well, Justin, you haven't led these yet. What's up?
It's rough. I don't think it does what the Paladin is supposed to do. I really like the idea of it. Like the idea of a noble, I won't say crusader, but pilgrim. As far as that goes, in combat, I like the spells. I do like the spells. There are a few things that can be really good, and I like the way that it could play as like a just a heavy armor wielding pacifist that like a turtle
that you do have to deal with as the enemy because he can still mess you up.
Right, and then every time you try and attack anything that's around him, gets hurt. I like what it can do. I don't think it exemplifies the Paladin class. I like what it can do in combat as far as support and utility. Combat, it's gonna have to be a no because it's a pacifist. So there's 2 sides to that coin. Out of combat, I could see a lot of things you can do with the spells, a lot of things you can do with those abilities, especially with those persuasion checks. In a long conversation where you need that information, it's like, this guy's harmless. I can tell him anything. It's like talking to your dog. You know he's not going to tell anybody.
Yep.
It's a C though. I just think I think it falls short. I think that it misses. I like the way that it tries to handle combat by not involving themselves in it, but I just think there's more that could happen. I think that like Protective Spirit, like I think that the numbers fall short, and I think there's a decent amount of tweaking that you'll need to do on this in order to make it work well.
So overall,
so it's like I'm throwing it in C.
Okay. Brady, I know where you
it's average. It can be good.
Mine has slightly changed, but I'm still putting it up there. But I'll let you go first.
Okay. Yeah, because I know kind of where you set yours, and mine's changed a little bit since we've had some time to talk about it. Personally, I think in combat this is a little more useful than you think it is, Justin. Because things like Sanctuary, Calm Emotions, Hold Person, stuff like that is great as battlefield control. You can start to hold off some of those more damaging or even less damaging creatures. You are able to start taking things out of the equation while the rest of your party can focus.
Yeah,
which is very powerful in combat. Focus fire wins combat.
I don't know if you can use Calm Person if you've already initiated combat.
I believe they have advantage against it, but even regardless, that can also help prevent. That can help prevent combat. On the flip side of that,
especially if you miss one of those persuasion rolls by rolling very poorly.
But
it's your failsafe.
Sanctuary, I believe you can cast on someone else, so why not be able to cast that on an enemy? They can't get out of it either. It's kind of like Wall of Force in that it just
there's no disadvantage if you're already in combat for that.
Yeah, so it helps to calm them out. I think where this class shines is battlefield control. It's
and
able
utility.
To lock people off. Yeah, it is a utility paladin is really the best way to look at it. That being said, multi-classing, I don't really see a reason to multi-class in this as anything else. You either do this or you don't.
Maybe you're all in or you're not.
Yeah, maybe a cleric, maybe
a cleric because and even in some there's a lot of classes that just like role-playing wise don't mesh.
So I think all in all I have to put it at I think I gotta agree and I have to put it at C. Earlier I thought it was like a D or an E, but there is some use in the combat via those spells.
A lot of merit.
Yeah, there's a lot of merit to this.
Looks like I'm coming in with the hot take.
Alright.
I'm going to give it an A, and I'm going to explain why.
Okay.
The combination of Protective Spirit I talked about Oath to Kille's Resilient Sphere, but then you can add in Hypnotic Pattern. Say you're fighting one BBEG, and especially at the low levels that you get, or I guess at 15th level, so you can add in Protective Sphere as well. But say you're fighting one BBEG, which in a lot of cases is a very viable option. With Hypnotic Pattern, they get one chance to save that. They fail, they're now reduced to 0 movement and incapacitated for 1 minute. You know what you can do with 10 rounds in combat? You can do a lot of healing shit. Well, no, it stops if they're damaged.
Oh, you don't do damage.
You don't do damage, but you can do
You're a pacifist.
A lot of fucking healing, not only for yourself,
well, the rest of your party.
The rest of your party, exactly. That gives you time to prep spells, activate different things. That 1 minute can be a huge thing, especially if your DM's still counting rounds. While that's happening, and if you're at 15th level, you're now gaining 1d6 plus half your paladin level every single time.
Fair.
So that can add in a lot. That Wall of Force at 17th level, super strong. The Stone Skin you get at 13th. Now you can stay in the fight longer. Yes, you're not gonna be a damage dealer with this, but you are going to keep everyone alive, keep things going. You're gonna be able to slow down combat, pull things out to allow your party more time to think, give them an opportunity to figure out what the hell they need to do in order to continue. So I'm giving it an A solely for the fact that it is, in my opinion, a top tier support character.
It's a very good support
utility
character.
Support, some healing with Paladin. I really like that.
That's just me.
Yeah.
But you guys both wanted it in C.
I'll say
for the
sake of brevity, being a part of the Paladin class and having the healing, that last sentence, a top tier support, and we're talking about some out of combat utility. Yeah. We're talking about in combat utility, even if they're not doing direct damage. If you've got someone that can work with this pally, it's just you're gonna drop people. And then battlefield control and support. I'll bump it up to a B, and we can split the difference on B.
Yeah.
Fine by me. So redemption. All right, now redemption. I'm assuming you guys want lower than glory in the B category.
I believe it drops a little bit lower. I believe it would drop a bit lower.
I think so. Yeah. I think so too. I think it has to be really played well. Like It has to be played very well and
Yeah.
very like to the point of it. Like just
Yeah.
pure pacifist that's here to help people. Just here to help people. Even the bad guys, I can turn them.
Next,
That's what redemption's all about.
On to the next pally. We have the Oath of Vengeance.
Now, this is one of my favorite Paladin subclasses. I'm just going to come out of the gate and say it. It's not the one that we disagreed on earlier, but I love this Paladin subclass.
It's a very popular one.
It's a very popular one. It's also a very good multi-class. Because, and I will run through all the spells, and I'll take care of the Channel Divinities, guys. I'm gonna talk for a minute. Just let me go here.
Ben knows this one.
Story time. So at your 3rd level spells, Bane, Hunter's Mark. Very useful. Minus a d4 on your enemy's ability saves and ability saves. Very useful. You can cause a lot of debuffs because of that.
Tarkal's had Bane.
Yep. Hunter's Mark, being able to do additional damage. Always helpful. You can never go wrong. At 5th level, Hold Person, Misty Step. Hey, guess what? There's Misty Step again. 9th level, Haste. Once again, protection from energy. At 13th level, Banishment and Dimension Door, and at 17th level, Hold Monster and Scrying. Now,
13th level is where you learn to plane shift shot.
Yep. Now, the kind of the later, like the Scrying, situationally useful. Other classes get it sooner.
Yeah,
but
I do
can
have
be
questions
helpful if you
about
don't have
Scrying.
that. Yeah. But the really fun ones are the Channel Divinities, and this is really where like the multi-classing comes in. Abjure enemy.
Level.
Yeah, Abjure enemy. You can choose one card within 60 feet that you can see. Must make a Wisdom saving throw, so it is a saving throw, so keep that in mind. The Fiends and Undead have disadvantage on the saving throw, though. Very important. On a failed save, the creature is frightened for 1 minute. And on a successful save, the creature's speed is halved for 1 minute, or until it takes damage. So if you're running away from something, Abjure enemy is very useful. Keep it behind. You guys can cover some very big distance out of the way. Because not all things can be won against in your first fight. Sometimes you gotta come back around for it. But the real fun one.
That's crowd control, yeah.
Exactly. The real fun one. Vow of Enmity.
The
Vow
bread
of
and butter.
Yep. As a bonus action, you can utter a Vow of Enmity against a creature you can see within 10 feet of you. You gain advantage on attack rolls against the creature for 1 minute, or until the creature falls dead.
Yeah, go ahead and roll 2d20.
Yep.
For me,
guess
please.
what we are fishing for, right? And guess who loves criticals?
Paladins.
Rogues, Paladins that can smite. Rogue plus Paladin that can smite, that's fishing for criticals. Oath of Vengeance is, in my opinion, one of the best multi-classes for a rogue to go with. Or a fighter. A fighter that gets to its 3 attacks per round, especially like a champion that crits on a 19 or a 20, having the ability to choose Smite at level 19 that you're just fishing for those criticals on. You're just rolling advantage to try to get the criticals.
Smite, Haste, Vow of Enmity.
Yep.
You're smashing people on the front line.
You are trying to hit critical as much as you can. Bam, that Smite. Knock it all down. Hit it. Go, 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 go.
Rogue,
and that is
attack,
a powerful...
Haste, Vow of Enmity. That's a lot of attacks.
Yeah. It's a lot of attacks, does a lot of damage.
And I really like this next one too. I really like Relentless Avenger.
Take it away, go for it.
It's all right. So Relentless Avenger.
Hey, welcome to my trouble.
Am I the only one that can still speak?
Heyo.
Maybe.
So someone's trying to get away. When you hit them with an opportunity attack, you move up to half your speed.
Yep.
As part of the same reaction.
Yep.
So you not only like stab them, like this will pair well with Polearm Master, right?
Yeah.
Is that a reaction with an opportunity attack? So like,
you
just stab them with that, and then you can move to cut them off and make sure they don't escape. That's another level of crowd control that I really like from this ability. Like a lot of crowd control is negating an enemy, but this is really closing in on one.
Yeah. And
there's no save. It's just
there's
when if they try and get away, you've got them cornered.
Yeah, you chase. They don't get away from you. That is part of what makes Oath of Vengeance fun. Then at 15th level, you get your Soul of Vengeance ability. Soul of Vengeance is a fun one. When you... The authority with which you speak your Vow of Enmity, because guess what you're using again? Vow of Enmity. You have greater power over your foe. When that creature makes an attack, you can use your reaction to make a melee attack against that creature if it is within range. So, welcome to having Sentinel without having the Sentinel feat.
Right, and this is this goes into like Polearm Master too.
Yep.
Like you can also use. Yeah, you can also override that. Like, if you're willing to stick it out, you think you could stick it out to the 15th level, or you've got that Vow of Enmity up, it's a reaction for a free melee weapon attack.
Yeah, and guess what?
That's a reaction.
You have advantage on it. Guess what you're fishing for? Critical.
You get an attack as not a bonus action, not an action. You get it as a reaction.
Yep.
For free.
Yep. It's super powerful. And then finally, Avenging Angel, your Capstone ability, lasts for 1 hour. Once again, full hour on this one. Wings sprout from your back, and you can have a fly speed of 60 feet.
I love that. As fuck.
Yeah.
I love the mechanics and the imagery of that.
Yep.
It's like...
Yeah,
your god has granted you the level
you can chase down anything. Yeah. You can chase down anything.
60 feet is nothing to cry. That's 120 feet of dashing.
Yep. And then you also get an Aura of Menace. Aura of Menace is fun. It's a 30-foot radius. The first time a creature enters that aura, they have to make a Wisdom saving throw, or they become frightened of you. Immediately. Immediately upon entering it or activating this, they have to make that, or they become frightened of you. Attack rolls against the frightened creature have advantage. Now everyone's fishing for advantage.
Right.
You know who's gonna love
and
those
it's important
crits?
to note. It's important to note that will end, right?
On damage.
Once it takes that damage.
But then it has to make the save again when it comes back around to its turn.
Yeah.
Because it does not. It does not get a permanent save from it.
Well,
it says the first time an enemy creature enters the aura or starts its turn there during a battle, it must succeed on that throw. That's repeated every single time, as far as I'm concerned.
What I'm seeing is, or become frightened of you for 1 minute, or until it takes any damage. Which means
and then
the
damage
would negate the frightened.
But as soon as that frightened condition ends, it
has to make
the one will do damage with advantage. Then everyone else can attack it normally. But the moment it becomes that creature's turn again, it's remaking that Wisdom save.
Yep. Then it becomes frightened again.
Yeah.
That's the way I read that.
Because it starts its turn there.
And
Internet, this is a chance to prove me wrong. If I'm wrong, let me hear it.
No, as a DM, they're re-rolling that saving throw every single time that frightened condition goes away.
Well, it's starting its turn there.
Yeah.
It's still in the presence of the aura of Menace, which means that as long as it's active, it has to fight against it.
Yep.
I'm going. That's it.
There's nothing that says there that it's immune to that frightened condition after that. Like, if a spell wants it to be immune for the next 24 hours from that,
it'll say it
will
put
it
for
in
good.
Right.
Yeah.
So where are you guys putting it?
All right.
Honestly,
I can go first.
I think people have an idea where I fall.
I love this one. I really love it. I don't think that there's... I really can't find much wrong with it. The only things that are really arguable about it, this is the best 15th level subclass ability we have seen yet. The Soul of Vengeance is fucking amazing. Because of the ability, the action economy that you gain from that is unparalleled.
Especially if you're playing the off tank.
Yeah.
You're
even just a straight damage dealer.
This is the one that chases down the mobs that are trying to run, or someone that's trying to set off an alarm, something like that. This is the one that cuts them off and beats the shit out of them.
Yep.
I think the spells.
He's a striker.
The spells are solid. I'll ignore scrying.
Yeah.
Because that's a weird one. You could definitely do better there. But the fact that it multi-class, it comes
early,
online
immediate.
very quick.
Yep.
Very quickly. And then if you choose to go into this later, you've got a number of combat abilities.
Yep.
You don't... You're a charisma caster. Out of combat as far as social encounters, this doesn't really give you much of a benefit. So
that's where scrying comes in, though.
Right. That's where scrying, because you get a little bit of a different kind of investigation there.
Yep.
Just from very far away. This one is going to be an A for me.
Okay.
I really like what it can do. I think that leaning into this as a paladin is going to help you express the kind of combat, the kind of even support that you can really... The Hunter's Mark, great. Haste you can cast on anybody, right? As long as you touch them, at least. It's solid in more ways than I have seen. And that 15th level ability, if you're playing it out, it's huge. It's so much better than the other subclasses we've seen that it deserves to be bumped up to A for me.
Yeah. Brady, you had a revelation there. Justin, I don't know if you saw that play out on his face, but he realized
No, I wasn't watching
Brady,
it. I wasn't watching it. I was busy reading.
I just thought of the most deadly combination in the entire history of Forever.
Okay.
Oh, quick aside.
Your wizard and your paladin here both cast haste on your fighter. Your fighter then uses action surge.
I don't know if that stacks, but if a DM allowed that to stack, that's 19 attacks in a round or some shit like that. I don't know.
Well, let's say your fighter can get 4. Then they're using action surge for 8. Haste gives them another one or
another attack action,
so
which
that's
is another 4.
So then that's 16 attacks. Plus some of them let them use their bonus actions to attack, which sure you're only getting 1 bonus action, but okay.
And then you've got reactions for more attacks as the off-tank support character for the paladin here. That's huge.
It's a weird one.
You buff your tank like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
You buff your fighter or whatever. Let them just smash, and then like if you're up in the initiative in the next turn, just do the same thing.
Go for it. Yeah.
Keep going, man.
But
all right, so Brady,
even
what
minus
are you
that revelation, I'm giving it an A.
Okay. Honestly, and guys, this is where I differ a little bit. I agree with you that it is far and above kind of one of the better ones within. I gotta put it as S tier because of that multi-classing capability. Yes, it falls off a little bit when it comes to like social skills because it doesn't have a lot of out of combat utility spells. However, it's still a charisma caster, and one of the main tenets. And I think I would say the main tenet of D&D is combat. Yeah. This is the best subclass that we have come across as far as combat is concerned. As far as what it can do, what it can multiclass into, it is simply strong as shit.
I would also throw it above the Crown. Oath of the Crown.
So
I would absolutely the top...
I give Vengeance S.
Yeah.
For me, I am also slightly biased, so I understand that.
I can reasonably place this at the highest A tier slot we have.
Okay,
that's great.
I will live with that.
I don't think there are many drawbacks to it, if anything else. Like it just. There's
Viewers,
so much
if you're wondering what this is, I have to use the Soul Knife Rogue icon in place of the Vengeance Paladin, simply because the tier list that we're using doesn't have the Vengeance Pally for whatever reason.
Yep, if it gets updated anytime in the future, if we can find a different one, we will get everything absorbed and moved over for you guys. But for right now, that's the plan.
It's really weird.
It's okay. I'm following
the player's handbook.
I don't know.
But moving on to Oath of the Watchers.
This is another fun one. This was
released recently in Tasha's, so it's a newer subclass.
Vigilance, loyalty, and discipline are the tenets of this one. Spells that you get, and once again, I'll run through these all real fast. Alarm and detect magic, useful out of combat utility, keep everything warned. Moonbeam,
love it.
Covered that's useful. See invisibility,
love it.
Counterspell, non-detection. Aura of Purity, banishment, hold monster, and scrying is back. So
I like the spell list.
Yeah, straight off from this, the spell list is utility. The spell list is utility. I can see invisible. You with a watcher, the idea behind a watcher is that you see everything. You are Heimdall. You see everything. You are the one who's supposed to see everything, so you can warn the party, get them moving, get them up and moving. Then beyond that, in the channel Divinities, and this is where once again I think this really shines because of the second one I get to, but I will go through Watcher's Will first. You can invest the warding power of your faith. As an action, you can choose a number of creatures you can see within 30 feet of you, up to your charisma mod. For 1 minute, you and the chosen creatures have advantage on intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saving throws. You're watching out for their mental well-being. You are like, hey, that's magic. Do not fall for that. I can see what that is.
That is some of the best support, like, advantage saving throws we've seen from a Pally class.
And then
you get a broad range of it instead of just wisdom or just charisma.
Yep. Once again, your party stays your party. But again, we've seen the Abjure enemy a couple times, right? You know, that's a pretty common, pretty consistent one. The fun one with the Watcher is Abjure the Extraplanar.
That just sounds like the name of a BBEG.
So what that means is it's Abjure enemy. You can set an enemy to be frightened. We've covered that a couple times. But Abjure the Extraplanar means that you can use it against aberrations, celestials, elementals, fae, or fiends. This is the most types of enemies that you can use this against.
Yep. And they're turned for 1 minute until they take damage.
Exactly.
And it can't willingly end its move within 30 feet of you.
Yeah. And this is 5 of them instead of at most the 2 we've seen in other classes. That is powerful in and of its own right.
It's just a clear out.
That is get the fuck away from my wizard.
Yeah, get away from my friends. I don't want you here.
The aura of the Sentinel, when you get to the 7th level, though.
Sorry, I needed a drink.
You're good. But with that, you gain an aura of alertness while you aren't incapacitated.
Also strong as fuck.
You and any creatures within 10 feet of you roll initiative, you gain a bonus to your initiative roll equal to your proficiency mod. So that's only going to get stronger as you level up. And once you reach that 18th level, it does increase to that 30 feet, which is in combat quite a distance, especially when you're rolling for initiative.
Hey, remember when we had a level 10 class that had a plus 13 to initiative?
Yeah.
Hey, guess how else you can get to that?
Yeah,
I remember that. This can really help, especially as far as, like, from what I know, proficiency bonus.
You want your Paladin to go first, have the alert feat.
Yeah.
Plus this. Whew.
And then at level 15, you get access to Vigilant Rebuke. Another really fun one. Anytime a creature that you can see within 30 feet of you succeeds on an intelligence, wisdom, or charisma saving throw, which you also have the ability to add advantage to, you can use your reaction to force the caster of that spell, whoever forced the save, to take 2d8, plus your charisma mod, force damage. Now, the reason I very clearly enunciated force damage, that is the one damage type that next to no monsters resist. The only things that are resisting it, it is the only thing. The only things that are resisting it are typically going to be your DM's homebrew bullshit.
Yep.
I really like the way that builds on the previous one. I love the way that it's just really leaning into, like, what I think this class does best, which is protect people against mind infiltrations, especially intelligence. There are very few that will be able to make an intelligence saving throw, I think.
Yeah, intelligence is dump scat for a lot of classes.
It's really hard for a lot of classes, I know. But having that advantage of it, and then leaning into it even more, is a great feature at 15th level.
Yep.
Go ahead and read the second half of that first line for me, Ben. I want to make a callback to when we purposely called out the wording of one of these descriptions.
Okay, I will read this through once again. At 15th level, you've learned how to chastise anyone who dares wield beguilements against you and your wards.
Yes.
Such fucking audacity.
I think we have another
fucking audacity.
I think we got another high tier description.
Yeah, I love
Chastise
that.
anyone who dares wield beguilements against you or your wards.
Yep.
It could say
Great
anyone who
description.
dares insult you or your party, but no.
Yeah.
The author of this went above and beyond.
I also want to point out to our viewers, if you haven't noticed, we like the English language. It's weird, it's funky, there's some fun words.
Sometimes we're really not good at it.
Very much. I suck at it. I will be the first to say that, but I love it. And then
I love that call out. Yeah, let's talk about the top. Let's talk about the capstone.
And then your capstone.
Mortal Bulwark. At 20th level, you manifest a spark of divine power in defense of mortal realms. Okay, as a bonus action, you gain the following benefits for 1 minute. You gain true sight to a range of 120 feet. You have advantage on attack rolls against aberrations, celestials, elementals, fae, and fiends. And when you hit a creature with an attack roll and deal damage to it, you force it to make a charisma save against your spell save DC. On a failed save, the creature is magically banished to its native plane of existence if it's currently not there. On a successful save, the creature cannot be banished for 24 hours. Once you use this as a bonus action, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest unless you spend a 5th level spell slot, meaning you can do it once again 3 times per
I like the
long rest.
bypass on that.
And forcing banishment. It's just something that happens in addition to your attacks.
So
That's
this is
strong again.
This is the
Plus
protector
that true sight.
of the. This is the protector of the prime material plane.
Yep.
This
He
is
is
the
Heimdall.
one.
This
This
is
is the
Heimdall.
one that holds Tyrell together. Like the one that just makes sure that there's no fucking weird ass shit coming in here and messing up what we've got. I like that angle of it. Like, I ain't nothing from out there getting in here. I'll tell you.
So where are you guys putting
this class, once again, and this is one that, while I really like the Oath of Vengeance is strong just as like a meta game thing. The Watcher is strong. Also, I love the way this class is. If you haven't guessed by my arm, I really like Norse mythology, and this class is Heimdall. It's freaking Heimdall.
You can lean into it so well.
Oh, absolutely. The thing that this class lacks, or this particular subclass lacks, in my opinion, is the damaging aspect of combat. It is very powerful in a lot of the rest of it. Forcing banishments, it is crowd control. Giving everyone a boost to initiative so you all go before the enemies. If you all go before the enemies, guess what you can waste before they get their turn? The enemies. So that's very powerful in and of itself. And then even if you don't hit hard that Mortal Bulwark at level 20, forcing potential banishment at the end is very powerful.
Especially with the advantage.
I can't give this S tier like I did the Vengeance just because it does not multi-class well. You go full pally with this and that is it. Because at level 3, like Avenger, the extra planar is useful, Watcher's Will is useful, but there are better uses of your time than this.
It's worth it to stick out to 15th to have that boost to the Vigilant Rebuke.
Yep, but if you stick with it, if you go through with this, I truly believe this is an A class in and of itself.
I'll agree with you on that, 100%. I'm giving it.
You know what? With all we've discussed, I think that this is a great way to lean into a Paladin. Like, to be a protector. That's what they're meant for. You know, and I think this really exemplifies the class, especially if you're getting into a situation where extraplanar beings are infiltrating the prime material plane. I think that this is a great character to play. And I think the way that it builds on its bonuses, it's an A tier for me any day of the week.
Full disclosure, if Burry dies with what I want to build a Watcher.
Within our A tier, is it going first, second, or third?
So what is our A tier currently? It is the
Vengeance, Crown, and now Watchers.
Vengeance, Crown, and Watchers. Okay.
I like the Vengeance a little bit more. I think that it's.
I would say it's Vengeance, Watchers, Crown.
Cool.
My list. Is my order.
Also, if you play a Watchers Pally, I might honestly.
I want a story. It sounds like fun. Yeah.
Yeah, tell us something good, man. I'd love to hear it.
The plot already has that character like coming in built in, if need be. So like, if you want me to kill Burry, just let me know.
Also, let me know because I'll try and heal him.
And this is why we're chaotic.
Yeah, I think that it could compete when played very well. Like, I think if you're looking to be a pally that does damage,
not your class,
and embrace that side of it, I think that that's where you go Vengeance.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you're looking to embrace the support side of it and just help your people out in combat, I think that Oath of the Watchers might help you.
Yep.
In a great many cases. Just the mechanics of intelligence saving throws, having advantage, it's huge. It's huge, and that's enough to bump this up at least a level for me. And then I think if you're looking to really lean into the role-playing aspect of it and be, this nice chivalrous knight, you can do the Crown, but it lacks in some ways. This one's going right in between Vengeance and Crown.
Yeah.
It's up there with Vengeance. It's all in how you play it.
Yep.
It's all in where you're needed in your party.
We have
and now for the final.
I don't know if it's gonna end up being the best on the tier list, but we have saved the most interesting, most out there,
controversial,
the most non-pally, at least in its name, the Oathbreaker, and I'll run right into it with those spells.
Well, before you do, one of the things that people will consistently jabber about, it's been a constant argument, and I can see both sides of it.
Hold on, I need a beer for this. I need a beer for this. The description is great. The description is important. I read it earlier, and when you were speaking, it's exactly what I was thinking too.
Yep.
Discuss.
But for the audience at home, while he is grabbing that, for the audience at home, an Oathbreaker Paladin is a paladin who breaks their sacred oaths to pursue some dark ambition or serve an evil power. Whatever light burned in the paladin's heart has been extinguished. Only darkness remains. From a description, that's real heavy. Yeah. From a description, that is real heavy.
Dark ambition or serve an evil power.
I'm saying you're either going lawful evil, neutral evil, or chaotic evil playing an Oathbreaker. You're gonna have an evil in your alignment.
Yeah. And we will cycle back around to this in a little bit. I just want everyone watching at home and the rest of the panel here to kind of just keep that in mind, because it is a question I want to ask later.
I also want to note that, topical as to this point, Errata has just come out, and they've kind of retconned the Drow as far as lore goes. And most Drow, here's my statement on it. There are a lot of Drow that follow Lolth, as far as the Forgotten Realms lore goes. And Lolth is evil. She is evil. She tried to kill the leader of the Elven Pantheon and was banished. And all her followers were banished. But there is a light in the darkness, and it's Eliastrahi, the daughter of Lolth, the guiding light to good in the Drow culture. And it's almost like playing back in the day, like a what is it, a Sun Elf Paladin?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's almost like playing that. Like, you're on the Horde side, and it's not necessarily the best, but you get to play a Paladin. This one is not like that Errata. Like, they've gone back and they've rewritten the Drow as of today or a couple days ago to be more neutral and to follow a lot of other paths. They're not canonically, as far as Forgotten Realms lore goes, evil. So I would not be surprised to see this change in the future as well.
Right.
But I think the verbiage here is very clear. I think it's very clear. And there's a lot of and anything beyond this to homebrew something, that's the beauty of the freedom of D&D, is that you can homebrew something that allows you to be an Oathbreaker that's generally good. You can do that, but it's not what it says.
I was gonna say, you're gonna have to, if you're doing that based on the abilities of this class, this subclass, it's gonna be a tough sell.
Yeah, let's run down the spells.
Let's
what do we have?
Jump into it, and I think this will highlight right off the bat. So from spells, at level 3, the first 2 spells you get as an Oathbreaker Paladin, Hellish Rebuke and Inflict Wounds.
Okay, those are dark side powers.
Compared to every other Paladin subclass that we have gone through so far, every single other one, those are directly damaging, directly like I'm here to ruin your day. In addition to that, Crown of Madness, Darkness, Animate Dead, Bestow Curse, Blight, Confusion, Contagion, and Dominate Person. Contagion is mean.
Brady found this out. Lord class, man.
Contagion is rough.
This is a Sith Lord. Yeah, Contagion is Contagin's broken.
Because
I love Contagion.
Contagion does damage for minimum 3 turns in a row.
Yep.
Oh, there's no getting out of that. Damn.
Yep.
No, minimum 3 turns.
No.
It takes 3 turns to pass the save minimum. That's if you succeed every time.
Yep. And then on top of that, so it really leans into that evil. Animate Dead. It really leans into that evil ability right off the bat.
Oh, necromancy.
This is your Death Knight. This is your Sith Lord. This is your, this is your, when a Lich is to a wizard, this is the Paladin version of a Lich.
You get Animate Dead at 9th level. Yeah, you get Animate Dead at 9th level, and as part of your channel divinity, you can control undead.
Yep.
So if you're fighting undead, you could just turn them over to your side.
Yep.
The wisdom saving throw, and they have to obey your commands for the next day, 24 hours, or until you use channel divinity.
Let's say you're playing like Strahd or something that's heavy in necromancy and undead. This could be very useful. You're there not because you're a good person. You're there because you want to take Strahd's power, or you want
he's your inside man.
Yeah.
In
addition to that, your other channel
in the right campaign.
Your other channel divinity, Dreadful Aspect, darkest emotions and focus them into a burst of magical menace. Each creature of your choice within 30 feet of you must make a wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, the target is frightened of you for 1 minute. Once again, frightened comes back into play.
That intimidation, the spell intimidation of the paladin just rears its head again. I like the thematic element across the classes.
This next one kind of confuses me until I realize that it would take main effect at level 9 when you get Animate Dead. Is your Aura of Hate that you gain at level 7. And it says, starting at level 7, you as well as any fiends or undead within 10 feet of you gain a bonus to melee damage rolls equal to your charisma modifier. A creature can benefit from this feature from only one paladin at a time. When I first read this, I was highly confused on why giving undead and fiends a bonus to their attack rolls would be a good thing until I realized, oh, your warlock wants to summon a fiend. Oh, you want to animate dead? That can
this is your
dark side combo move. Yeah, this is your dark side combo move.
This is a great class to play an evil campaign in. This is a wonderful class to play an evil campaign in my opinion. 100%. In addition to that, at level 15, guess who becomes a barbarian? You gain resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage from non-magical weapons.
And then
it's level 15, which is a little lackluster, but at the same time, you're also carrying heavy armor and probably a 20 AC.
But I think the level 20 ability kind of makes up for a lackluster level 15 with the Dreadlord.
Fair.
Justin, do you want to go ahead and read the description of Dreadlord?
I would be more than happy to. Dreadlord. 20th level, you can, as an action, surround yourself with an aura of gloom that lasts for 1 minute. The aura reduces any bright light in a 30-foot radius around you to dim light. Whenever an enemy that is frightened by you starts its turn in the aura, it takes 4d10 psychic damage. Yep. Additionally, you and any creatures of your choosing in the aura are draped in deeper shadow. Creatures that rely on sight have disadvantage on attack rolls against creatures draped in this shadow. And while this aura lasts, you can use a bonus action on your turn to cause the shadows in the aura to attack one creature. Make a melee spell attack against the target. If it hits, necrotic damage, 3d10 plus your charisma modifier. And that's once per long rest.
Yeah, you only get it one time, but powerful.
When you need that extra little punch, like when shit's going bad and you need people to scatter, this is your move,
or
man.
This is where you're walking into a room where you know you're about to, you need to lay the smack quick. Dreadlord, drape everyone up. This is Darth Vader walking down the hallway.
It's psychic and necrotic damage, man.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. It's just like the force grip and then just drain life in a way.
Going back into the theater, and once again, I'm wearing a Star Wars shirt. Star Wars nerds here. Going back to Rogue One, Darth Vader has never been more badass than that half of the hallway scene. Just walking through, wasting people. I was terrified of Darth Vader.
To know what happens just a few minutes before episode 4, to know what those rebel soldiers came from on the Tantive 4,
to continue being chased, and then to see that come through the hallway at them again.
Vader needed a break. That's why he sent the stormtroopers in first. He was there for management when it came to the invasion, but as far as keeping off the Star Destroyer, don't you fucking come close. So where are we going with this one, boys? What do we think? What do we think about the Oathbreaker? What's it do in combat? In
combat, it is very strong because of a couple different things. One, it is an action economy breaker if you have someone that can raise dead. If you have someone that can summon fiends and anything like that, it is an action economy breaker. Because even if that fiend breaks loose, Control Undead doesn't target it, but you can still affect that. Inflict Wounds and Hellish Rebuke are very powerful. Hellish Rebuke as a reaction to cause damage is very strong.
Hellish Rebuke does an excessive amount of damage. From what I'm seeing here, it's 2d10 fire damage at base, and then 1d10 for a little higher than first.
Yeah. And you get that at third, man.
At third level. It's very powerful. Contagion is one of my favorite spells. If I can get it to load, because you can apply 6 different status effects. You can only apply one of them at a time, but you can apply 6 different ones, and they are strong as shit. My favorite.
You just pick the right one that works. Yeah. Like if you throw that in the right point in combat, you're gonna know what that one's.
Yeah, I highly recommend, if you have never looked into it, look into Contagion, guys, as a necromancy spell. As a Grave Cleric, it's one of my favorites. It's my only touch spell I'll ever take. Look into it. Highly recommend. It's a lot to read through right now. Look into it.
On top of Contagion, going back a little bit on the spell list that you get an early level, Blight. It is a con save. 8d8 necrotic, or half as much on a successful save. And if you're targeting a plant creature or a magical plant, that save has disadvantage. Or for whatever reason, if you're just targeting a normal plant, it just withers and dies.
So you are Pestilence.
Yeah, you are Pestilence. You are a Death Knight. I think, honestly, I can't give this quite S. Because, there's a lot of fear that comes with this. There's a lot of, if you are creative, if your DM allows you to be creative with stuff, I can give this S tier. Because this is terrifying.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrifying. This is the Paladin that never removes his helmet. This is terrifying. However, with no overt uses outside of combat other than it being a charisma-based caster, that drops it off. On lower levels, it is useful to multi-class into. Mm-hmm. From an RP perspective, it is hard to make that work, though.
Yeah. When you deal in death, people don't really like talking to you.
Yeah.
You know, they can almost smell it on you.
Yeah. So I think this is another A tier class if it can be played right. Because it's limited to an evil character, though, in my opinion. Everything is a suggestion, and if you're creative enough, anything is possible.
Justin, what are you giving it?
The way this works out, A to B.
Okay.
Yeah, I do think it lacks the versatility in that aspect.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's important to note. Again, everything is just, the only limits are yours and your DM's imagination and what you can talk about and negotiate together to make a nice balanced game for the other people in your party. But alignment is one of the more limiting things in the game, because even like, unless you're going into a one shot where you're going into an arena or you're going to be running through something real quick with not a lot of social encounters, the Oathbreaker lacks social skills. Even if it's charisma
Kind of by
based,
design.
even if it's a charisma based caster, it still lacks the social skills. I can't give it an S. I can't do it. A is fair. A is fair, and I would even venture to. I think it has a lot of versatility in the ways you can play it too.
Where in the A tier are you putting it? The current listing is Redemption, Watcher's Crown. Or not Redemption, Vengeance, Watcher's
It's Vengeance, yeah. See, right now I'm bouncing back and forth between before and after Vengeance.
Okay.
I think it's really dependent on the alignment of the campaign.
Yeah.
And I don't want to use that as one of the metrics for just generally good. But
it is
it's hard to ignore the fact that this character would be really hard to play in a chaotic good or chaotic neutral campaign even.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna put it behind Vengeance, because Vengeance can be done for a noble cause, but an Oathbreaker always breaks a promise.
Yeah. And what about you, Brady? Where are you putting it?
I will give it the highest A to the lowest S. And that is simply because of how powerful this is in combat.
Pure. Okay, fair. I mean, I would put it lower. I would put it below Watchers, honestly, just because of that limitation in social and limiting it to pretty much an evil character without significant ability to rewrite and adjust with your DM, because it's a really tough sell to tell me a good character animates the dead. I don't care where that comes from.
It's a perversion of nature. Like, if you have a druid in that party, they're gonna have none of it.
Yeah.
None of that. That's not how it's supposed to happen. I love the Oathbreaker and the Vengeance Paladin in their own ways. I think the Vengeance Paladin is definitely easier to play in a group.
Yeah.
I think it comes down to that edgy character that broke their oath, they had their promise, and then they went away from that. And I mean, that's very if you're not the right kind of person, you can play that one very poorly, because then you can betray your fucking party. I don't like that aspect of it. That's kind of inbuilt with the way they describe it. Vengeance, you can have a noble cause. Like, your people were eradicated and you're back with the blessings of your god to take vengeance on these people. And I think that's what a paladin is about. I think it's more about that. And while I like the Oathbreaker and its potency in the combat, I think that something as far as like out of combat and social should not only involve the NPCs you encounter, but the PCs you're playing with as well. And I think playing an Oathbreaker with a group of people makes that Oathbreaker just inherently untrustworthy.
All right.
So Fun BBEG though.
Yeah, this one's gonna go behind Vengeance. Yeah, this one's gonna go behind Vengeance, and in the right campaign, in the right like evil aligned campaign, this class can fucking kill it. The problem is there's 2 other alignments, and there's only one like grade of evil, and it's chaotic, lawful, neutral. But you've got all the 6 other alignments that you can work with, and so there's limitations in its versatility, especially with out of combat.
I think as a whole, we'll put it behind Vengeance, and I want it behind Watchers, but I think for both of you, it goes in front of Watchers.
And
so
that brings us to the
majority rolls
of our overall rankings on the Paladin subclasses. We have in order from highest to lowest is the Vengeance Paladin, the Oathbreaker, the Oath of Watchers, the Oath of the Crown, Glory and Redemption in B, C tier being the Conquest, nothing in D tier. E tier has Ancients and Devotion. F tier had nothing, and we didn't get overly confused on any of them, and none of them landed in question mark.
Yep.
But I think that wraps up today's video, guys.
Absolutely. Guys, tell us what you thought. Tell us what you disagree with.
Did you like the longer type of video?
If you like the content we make, like, subscribe. Just remember us here at Intoxicated Intellect, and until next time, we'll see you, folks.
Peace.
Bye-bye.